and welcome back to Checked Out, a podcast presented to you by the Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library. I am your host, Joe Armstrong, here recording at the downtown Main Library, and I'm joined today, keeping our 2026 energy high and strong, with two folks many of you will probably recognize. Kiwi Hester, who is working at our Mount Healthy branch, but not only that, a multi-million viewed library superstar on TikTok. If you haven't followed us on TikTok, get on over there and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's some stretching, there's some, acrobatics going on. If you want to know more, just head on over to TikTok. Kiwi, thanks for joining me today.
Again, no books were harmed in the filming of that TikTok.
No books were harmed. If you have no idea what we're talking about, head on over to TikTok and it all will make sense.
ASAP.
And I'm also joined by Stephona Hubbard, who is coming from our Deer Park branch, who is also, you may recognize, she was recently on a bunch of local news stations talking about some of the things we'll talk about today. Stephona, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
All right. So we have you two here to talk about what you're reading, current reads, things you've recently completed, and some more recommendations. But all of this is coming up on a really cool event, the African American Read-In. So some of these current reads are tied into this event, which is our annual series featuring local authors, events, and activities, all catered around African American literature. So Kiwi, kick us off. Tell us a little bit about this event and what you're reading right now.
Well, thanks, Joe. Good to see you, Stephona, again.
You too.
Now, to be honest, I was kind of amused when I was told or asked about being a part of this podcast. Partly because there's a running joke that takes place at our branch. When people come in to see me and ask for a reader's advisory, I always look at them and say, hey, I'm not a reader. So here I am talking about books, and I consider myself not to be a reader. But one of the things I would like to do in this podcast is dispel the myth that black men do not read. Because we do. We read. And going back to the thing about the AARI, part of the AARI, or African American Read-In, as a member of the BEC Black Events Committee, on Saturday, January 31st, 2026 at the Main Library from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., we will have our children's author, Brittany Thurman, as our key author. There will be a book club discussion, some children's story times, crafts, and activities, along with a time for people to enjoy a book of their choosing on the social stairs. For the book club that's going to take place at AARI, I have chosen to read James by Percival Everett.
Nice pick.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I'm not like I said, not necessarily a big reader, but I do pick up a book here and there. But I don't read with my eyes. I read with my ears.
Okay, you had me nervous for a little bit. I'm like, okay, how do you do this, Kiwi?
So I like audiobooks. I love a great story. And so I am listening to James by Percival Everett, which will be our men's book club book for the AARI taking place on January 31st. And Stephona will also be doing a book in the book club.
I will be reading Happy Land by Dolan Perkins Valdez. I've already started. It's kind of interesting, not exactly what I expected, but I am looking forward to getting through it and discussing it. I am a big reader. I do read a lot.
With your eyes?
With my eyes. I'm too ADHD for audiobooks. I would have the thing playing and walk out the room and be gone for a half an hour, come back, I've missed 5 chapters, and who is talking? What is happening? Oh, that's that thing. I need to start over. So yeah, I need to sit down with my physical book, get it in while I can, and then move on. But I'm enjoying this book so far, and I hope we have a lot of participants who want to discuss it, whether they read it or not. And that's important for people to know, too, that it's not a prerequisite that you read the book before you come to the discussion. If you're interested in the book and just haven't gotten time to read it yet, please join us. If you are interested in book clubs in general, want to know how they work, want to get the feel of one, come on down. We'll be happy to have you.
I'm sure that every branch has its own section of book clubs, so you should be able to visit any one of our 41 branches and get into a really good book club. This men's book club, like I said, we're going to be talking about James by Percival Everett. Now, if you're not sure who James is, he is a character from a Mark Twain book. Well, two, Tom Sawyer and the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. That character, though, was named Jim. And Percival Everett takes a way of going and telling James's story from his perspective. And so it has been a very good read. And we're talking about perspectives, Stephona and Joe. The perspective that black men don't read, it needs to be, I want to shift it a little, dispel that. As a black man myself, I don't read as the first thing that I go to in terms of my hobbies. And like Stephona says, she wants to get a book and she reads. I'm more of a movie kind of guy, so that's not my thing. But I like a good story, so I like to listen to the audio. But when I was a child, I realized that there were a lot of black men in my life who read, but I never really saw them with a physical book in their hand. They had newspapers, they had a magazine, but they were always reading something, and they were like me. I'm more of an informational text type guy than I am follow the storyline and the story of that kind of thing, just for entertainment. And so I'm just learning how to get that back into my system. As a child, I don't know if this was for you, Stephona, but I used to watch TV so much. My mom would say, all right, turn that TV off and go read a book. Now, I know what she was trying to do was get me into the reading, but I felt like it was a punishment.
Right.
Because she was taking me away from the thing I really enjoyed to go do something else. And so I want to encourage any parents out there not to use reading as a punishment, so keep it alive and keep it well for your kids. And I did that for my child. You have children, Stephona?
I have two adult daughters.
Did you read to them as a...
I read to them. They both enjoy reading for pleasure when they have time. Right now, they're in the midst of raising kids and running their families, so they don't have a lot of time for leisure reading. And actually, as a matter of fact, my oldest daughter is finishing her last year in nursing school. She's getting her BSN.
Awesome.
So she's really not trying to pick up any extra books right now, and I don't blame her. When I graduated college, I swore up and down I would never read again in my life. I wouldn't even read street signs while I was driving. If I couldn't find the right landmarks, I just wouldn't get to the right place.
Well, look at you reading now, and you're doing it at a library, right?
Imagine that.
That is great. For me, I used to read to my son as a child. He started actually when he was in his mom's womb, just as a way of getting him into the thing of wanting to read and hearing words. And it worked well for him. Jeremiah, he's now 24 years old, and in comparison to me, where I wanted to get on a video game and I wanted to get outside and play, or I wanted to watch TV, when he would be in the car ride with me, I would think, like, where did he go? Where is he? He was in a corner looking out the window with a book in hand. And I was like, yeah, this is great. So something picked up from the time he was a baby on to me reading to him at nighttime, and to him wanting to read on his own. So he is an avid reader. He loves reading, and I think it's important that we instill that in our children.
For sure.
And I think you both have talked about reading in different ways, and reading different things is still reading.
Yes.
Even if it's not a book, newspapers, comic books, all these apply, and it's so important. Especially now more than ever, to have our kids, the folks who look up to us, see us modeling reading.
Absolutely.
I got a question for you, both of you. How do you deal with starting a book, getting so far, and then life hits, and then it's like, I know I was doing something. How do you get back to that book? Like, do you feel like as a problem? Because I started a book earlier this year, or last year actually, and then it just,
Yeah, I know.
life hit, and I just wasn't able to finish. And that is a book I would like to tell you about, and it was Firstborn Girls, which was recommended to me by one of my coworkers, Neff, at the Mount Healthy Branch. And it is a memoir by Bernice McFadden, taken from when she was 2 years old and part of a bad car accident, and how she grew up and her family overcoming the resiliency and things. But it's a really good book. I didn't get a chance to finish it, and I was just wondering, like, how do you deal with not finishing a book?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Sometimes I read long books, like, your Brandon Sanderson fans, you know what I'm talking about, these bricks that are 1,000 pages. And if you drop off for a week or two, you don't even remember the names. Like, what's going on here?
Do you go back?
So sometimes I start over, but I think what helps me is if you go onto YouTube or somewhere on the internet, you can get quick little recaps, and many of them are kind of in order. So you can keep going, and then once you recognize, oh, I remember this, you can stop and jump right back in. That's what's helpful for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good tool.
I struggle with that, particularly with nonfiction. I can read memoirs and bibliographies about people that I like and that I'm interested in. But I have tried reading all kind of self-help books, and I've got all this stuff, even on my TBR, that I want to read, and oh, this sounds so great. Oh, this would be so helpful. And I get into it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, chapter 15. Okay, yeah.
Not it. Yeah.
I'll come back and pick that up. And I struggle with that too. I don't really have an answer for you, because I will just try to come back. One of the things that I tried to do a couple times was just read, like you said, a recap, or the synopsis of the book. Read it again to pique my interest again. Like, okay, this is why I was trying to read this book. And a couple times that has worked to get me back into it.
I will say, at the end of the year, I keep track of how many books I read a year.
Okay.
If I run into a situation, I count that as reading the book twice. So that's kind of motivation.
good.
Hey, this one counts double for my
That's all
tally
right.
at the end of the
That's
year.
good. That's good.
So listeners, maybe you've learned a few tips here how to catch up. We've got some great recommendations, and again, we'd love to see you at the African American Reading event down here at the Downtown Main Library, Saturday, January 31st, from noon to 3. We can't wait to see you there. We have some more coming up. We're going to talk about some recently completed reads.
Yes, sir.
And my favorite segment, the recommendations.
Sounds
I'm
good.
always looking for more. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Visit your favorite arts, cultural, and recreational attractions in Hamilton County for free with a Discovery Pass. With your library card, you can reserve a Discovery Pass for 15 local attractions, including the Cincinnati Museum Center and American Sign Museum. Learn more at chpl.org.
To expand access to STEM-related learning tools and materials, the library has partnered with the Library Foundation and Dean Regas to circulate 15 telescopes for use by library cardholders. Telescopes are available at 15 locations, and each can be checked out for a 7-day loan period. Learn more at chpl.org.
And we're back. Now we are here to talk about some recently completed reads from you guys.
All right.
I can't wait to hear what you've been reading. Stephona, kick us off. What have you recently completed?
All right, so I have recently finished Gray Dawn by Walter Mosley. It is his latest Easy Rollins installation, and I enjoyed it. I'm trying to have myself go back through and read it again, because there was some kind of questions that I had at the end.
That counts as twice.
If I
We'll add that
manage
to the
it.
list.
If I manage it. I'm horrible at that, because I have so many other books that I do want to read. Like, why am I reading something I already read? So I don't know, I might get there, I might not. But I also recently read Under This Red Rock by Mindy McGinnis. Now, Mindy is an author who was here with us for Books by the Bank 2024. And I heard her speak on a panel. She was awesome. I chatted with her one-on-one afterwards for a little while and bought her book.
And for listeners who aren't familiar with Books by the Banks, it's a regional book festival that's hosted right here at the downtown main library that brings thousands of
Didn't you have
authors
over
in here.
200 authors this past year?
Yeah, we did. It's
That's
always
crazy.
such a
Yes.
fun event.
Yeah.
And you got to meet the author in person. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, I did, and thoroughly enjoyed that book. It has some twists and turns in it. It was very insightful. It's about a group of young adults, teens and young adults, one struggling with some mental health issues, and
Which is huge
how she
now,
managed
yeah.
that, absolutely. And the insight, really, that the author provided was just kind of mind-blowing. It really made you think about, people who experience certain problems and how that manifests, what that looks like when you see them, can make you really think about, the compassion that we should be showing everybody, because you never know what somebody is going through.
I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the things what I've taken away from reading more and more lately is how it affects my perspective. So gaining someone else's perspective, insight into how someone else deals with a thing has been huge. And so I didn't realize how much reading can do that, introduce me to something or a different idea or concept from someone else's point of view. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah,
that was fascinating in that book. One of the last books that I want to talk about that I just finished recently was a nonfiction true crime, Raised by a Serial Killer.
Okay.
And that was kind of fascinating to hear this woman's story of things she noticed throughout her childhood. But of course, we don't explain all kinds of things to our kids, and
Right.
something like that, mom and dad aren't going to sit you down and say, okay, so daddy's wiping out people in the neighborhood and we got to move.
Yeah.
That's
Family
pretty much what
secrets,
was
huh?
happening. But it was really interesting to get that perspective, her insight on recognizing or questioning and then seeing that play out.
For those of you who don't know, we are in the city of Cincinnati. And the city of Cincinnati has some very, very great authors that come out of it. One of them happened to be my high school English teacher. You wonder who that might be? Yes.
Do tell.
Miss Sharon M. Draper.
You had her?
I did. I had Miss Draper, and she had a dreaded paper that we had to complete called the Draper paper. But going to what I recently read, over the summer, my family took a road trip to Florida, and on the way there, I read one of her trilogies, the Jericho trilogy, which has the 3 books in it, the Battle of Jericho. Then it's, let me make sure I got it all down correct. The Battle of Jericho, November Blues, and then Just Another Hero. And it talks about these kids in high school and the things that they deal with. It was a very riveting story. I listened to them. Each one was about 7 to 9 hours. So if anybody's interested in that, that would be a great read. And that's what I read about. And that was one of the most recent things I did.
I love that. And Sharon Draper, if you're ever willing, you have a seat here on the pod. You can sit with
Always.
Kiwi. I'd love to hear more about Kiwi's dreaded paper that he
Come
wrote.
on, Miss Draper. Well, if I want to segue that, when we were in her class, she was talking about how teachers don't make a whole lot of money, and she wasn't sure what she was going to do to send her kids to college. And I go off to college, and next thing I find out is I see an article with her writing, and I said, oh, she found her niche. So that's how she sent her kids to school, was through her writing. Many awards in her books and everything. I advise anybody to go out and read her books.
I love that. So if you were interested in the Jericho series, what type of reader would like this series?
Someone who likes to go and follow music, because it has dealing with jazz and blues. Someone who's dealing with relationships, how you navigate, especially in the teenage years, dealing with peer pressure, how to navigate through those things. So how to conduct yourself through society and knowing what to do, what not to do, and give you insight to, and family matters as well. So that's what I'd say for someone who'd be interested in reading that book.
I love it. For those listening, you better hurry up and place a hold before I do.
All right.
You sold it on me. All right, we will be right back for my favorite segment, the recommendations. I am so excited to hear what you guys would recommend. We'll be right back.
Streaming services are so expensive.
Have you considered using Canopy through the library?
I haven't heard of that service. What is it?
Canopy is a film streaming service that's free with your CHPL library card. Stream over 3,000 free movies, documentaries, world and indie films, classic cinema, shorts, educational videos, and kids shows. Learn more at chpl.org.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm cutting my expensive streaming service right now.
Do you need a private space for studying or a meeting? Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library offers free meeting and study rooms for reservation. Available at most library locations. Learn more at chpl.org.
Welcome back. For my favorite segment, we're still working on a name. If you're listening here, comment with a name for this segment. It is so good, it needs a name.
Okay.
So just keep thinking about that. But we're here for recommendations.
Recommendations.
From two folks who I can already tell have great tastes. I've already written some down that I'm going to borrow. Kiwi, start us off with some recommendations.
So, like I said, I'm more of an informational text type guy. So for those people who are looking for self-help, some of the things that might make Stephona yawn and go away. But for those like me who want that, I would start with like The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson is excellent. If you want something to help you, autobiography type things to talk about propelling your career, Lucky Me by Rich Paul. Now dealing with mental health, and for men, especially black men, I read Shook One and Black Privilege by Charlemagne the God. You might hear him on The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that stood out to me. Does he read the audiobook?
I don't remember if he did actual reading himself, but it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since he's a celebrity person, African American, talking about mental health issues, and it really was great. Then there's Up From Slavery, a more historic book by Booker T. Washington, Native Son by Richard Wright, The Fire Next Time, by James Baldwin. One of my heroes as a child was George Washington Carver. So you read that by Janet and Jeff Binge would be great. If you're looking about transition, Who Moved My Cheese was such a great book. I love that. And followed by Our Iceberg is Melting by John Cotter. I was just part of the cohort that graduated, and one of the books we had to read was This Is Day One by Drew Dudley. It's a high recommend. And then the last one I want to say, for those who are part of the faith community, my pastor has written several books, and the ones I would like to recommend to you is Worshiper by Design and Same Faith, Same God by John W. Stevenson. Please support our local authors. All right.
That was a rapid fire of great recommendations.
Thank you.
And
Nice
broad,
picks.
too.
Yeah. Again, hurry up if you're listening. I might try and beat you to some of these. Stephona, what's on your list?
Okay, so yeah, I'm all about the fun and the relaxing and the ooh, that's shiny. So my recommendations will be more along those lines. I do read my Bible. I stay in my word. Every now and then I'll get, I'll get going on one of those good self-help books and one of those good nonfictions. Sometimes I just need a push to get through them.
That's understandable, though.
In the meantime, I have on my TBR the Ethics series and the Butterfly series by Ashley Antoinette. I just started reading what's called urban fiction, and I really like her writing. She does great character development, but also there is a character, one of the main characters who later becomes a main character in the book, who is deaf. and so it's interesting to read, how that plays out in the storyline, someone with a disability. And I myself am hard of hearing, so it was really nice to kind of see that in a book. Yeah, I play it off pretty well. You smile and nod, and people just go along with it. But I also I want to read Slipstream by Madge Merrill, a former CHPLer.
Oh,
it's a mystery, I think mystery, maybe thriller, and sounds really interesting. So I have that on my list.
Yeah, I want to take some time just to give an extra plug
Did you
for
read
Slipstream. Fantastic book,
Nice.
a little more romance,
Okay.
tilting, Formula One, if you're a racing fan, a lot of that happening.
Okay.
So head on over to your local bookstore or to your local library and support this not only local author, but a former local library worker.
A former library worker.
Yeah,
that's
so I'm
pretty
really
cool.
excited about getting into that one. And then another one that I can't wait to dive into is The Ghosts of Eden Park.
Oh.
Kind of another, not necessarily
You
true
like
crime, I
that
guess.
crime element, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I'm one of those middle-aged women who will sit up and watch, ID channel for hours and, I wonder what happened to this person, and I got to figure out how I'm solving crimes left and right.
There you go. I love it. Great recommendations
Thank
from
you.
both of you. My list, like I was saying earlier, you guys came and delivered. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Kiwi, thanks for stopping by.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Stephona, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and all you library listeners out there, thank you again. We're starting this new year with a lot of momentum. You've been rating and reviewing our podcast. Thank you so much. It's a big help. And be sure to stop by the library again for our African American Read-In on January 31st. That's a Saturday.
That is a Saturday,
From
yes, sir.
noon to 3 p.m. right here at the downtown main library. And look for some checked out, either me or some guests here today will be there to say hello. We'd love to chat in person about the podcast and about the
wait to
wonderful
see you.
books. All right, until next time, we'll see you and keep reading.
Keep reading.
Keep reading.
Checked Out is a podcast presented by the Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library. It is produced by Paul Wellington. It is sound engineered by Steve France. Hosted by Joe Armstrong. Supported by the CHPL brand team, as well as the hundreds of library staff across Cincinnati and Hamilton County. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next week.